which we are looking after, state ports, through privatization, we have not stipulated any tariff regulatory authority purposely, because they're greenfield ports. Let them set up their own tariffs. Let them compete with the major ports which are in the near proximity. And if the port is not going to be efficient, it will draw it. That is all. That's the principle. But you got the major ports where you got a tariff, the tariffs in place. So it's not a level playing field which you'll see in another 2-3 years time for us when our ports get commissioned. And you have Mumbai Port Trust, the JNPT there. How will it come? You must ensure that there is a level playing field for all the ports. So that's one of the policy issues which needs to be taken into account and resolved. What would the state do? We have 2 majors under the center and we got another 2 ports coming up under the state. So there's not going to be a level playing field.
We come to the end of the session. Yes.
Since we are coming to end of the session, let me propose one possible solution to port development or successful port development. As Professor Raghuram had mentioned and acknowledged, that connectivity is definitely a key issue, but to solve it you need a proper framework. Rest of it will follow. What I suggest is the PSP or the public-private participation should be maximized on the core port assets, while the government sector participation should be only onto the connectivity side. Let them concentrate on road, rail. You don't require 60,000 crores for that development. What remains is other assets which are created on the port backup area or as port-related services that market forces will determine. You will have warehouses, CFSs, or transporters, everything that will come on its own. You don't really have to worry too much about that. And finally, on the major port side, the major ports should be allowed to invest into these new opportunities. Instead of putting in, I would say, I will use a very strong term, wasting money onto new projects in major ports. Let the major ports invest on their own into other new projects. Let them also give managerial inputs, because that is what would be required at the new places, the new capacities. And obviously then let the time run, and maybe the sick patients, as you mentioned, they will find their own path or nirvana, whatever it is. And another thing is, instead of looking at 60,000 crores, we should also look at the composition of this expenditure. Why not just have a simple port sector kind of mutual fund where government participates, the public participates, and then that fund finds suitable port opportunities. And I'm sure under current market situation, they will find hundreds of opportunities now. So this is kind of a loaded comments, but open for debate.
Would George want to comment on this, or?
I don't think I really want to comment, but I think I found myself agreeing with most of what you said, so I don't see any issue there. Freeing up resources. Let me just give you one example. The Chinese, for instance, are building 5,000 kilometers of expressway a year. Yes, and we scratched our heads, and in India, you know, we're pushing very hard, but NHI is building about 1,000 kilometers. So we scratched our heads to see how did the Chinese mobilize all this capacity? Was it international contractors coming in, building all these highways? Let me stand up. What we found was the Chinese basically released the capacity that was there in what we call our public works departments, the engineers, surveyors, etc., turned them into companies and made them go out and compete for work all over China. And those 175 companies that were created were the ones that are actually producing this huge amount of work. So your idea of using the skill sets that are in the major ports and letting them go is an excellent one. Yeah.
Does anyone else from the World Bank team want to say anything?
I think
Yeah, we are almost through with the time.
well, let me just, maybe since I'm already up, thank the consultants, IPA, Indian Ports Association, and i-maritime, and Feedback Ventures and IDFC. This might seem like fairly short presentations, but I can assure you they involve a lot of work, and they really did it over a fairly short period of time. So I really thank them for doing this, and then i-maritime for organizing the workshop today. And then finally, most of all, it's very valuable that you have candidly given comments and participated in this exercise, because we assure you everything that you said was registered. Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks.
With this, we close the session.